brilliant mathematician. Maybe he solved a math problem? The next stop is the Bondi Beach, the famous Bondi Beach. My husband couldn't wait. He's just rushing me to come down. Topless is allowed in the Bondi Beach. All the beaches are very clean, very nicely kept, and you don't see people throwing plastics. You do not see any plastics at all. People are very responsible and they throw their plastics in the recycling bin. The stone walls you see in the background are built by the early convicts. They built these to define their property and protect their territory. This is an Irish pub called Old Tom in an old gold mining village. It's a mock village. Pushpa and Ken took us there, and it was really fun. Train ride from Collac to Melbourne. That's the water body that you see at the back. That's the Koala Lake.
I suppose it's having full control of what you want to do.
Yeah. She sees it once she's signed. And they've got, not just look out when he's sitting there, but they can tell what
The music was so mesmerizing. I just could not leave the place. My family was calling me to move on and come along, but I just could not leave the place. I just kept standing there and listening to the music. It was amazing. My niece Mercy is driving us to a zoo. It's called Ballarat Zoo, where you can touch the kangaroos. I'm really excited and looking forward to going to the zoo. This is the Ballarat Zoo. It's in the town of Ballarat, and it has all the native animals to Australia. At the zoo, they sell little packets of kangaroo food, so you can buy them and feed the kangaroos. They come to you and then they'll eat. You just have to keep your hands real low, otherwise they'll try to put their front leg and push you down. It's very heavy and they could hurt you.
That's it.
Oh God! Wait, open your eyes.
Look at this thing.
It's about to go asleep.
I think the weather is
Yeah.
so cold.
Look at this one.
It's black.
மாட்டிட்டு இருக்கு தலை மாட்டிட்டு இருக்கு தலை மாட்டிட்டு இருக்கு.
Look at this one.
We came to the famous Victoria Market in Melbourne, and we just fooling around with different wigs. It was fun, and you can find anything and everything in this market. We visited a historical courthouse in Melbourne. We just playing around. I put Arvind in the witness stand. I'm questioning him. Myself and my friend Pushpa, we had a lot of fun in this trip. And we took a train ride to a little town called Point Cook to meet Mercy's family. The train ride was really nice. The train was almost empty. Mercy's husband Jasper and her cute little children. And we went around and walked around in the city of Melbourne. So much to see. The city, it's a little bit like San Francisco. And a lot of young students walking around and taking the bus and metros. It was really nice. And there are a lot of historical places, churches and old buildings. We visited them all. An old train station. And we stayed in the Marriott's. My niece joined us. And we just enjoyed. And we went out for dinner that day. And we had to make actually reservation to go to the restaurants. Everything was so full. And this was a fountain in the city. And we also visited Captain Cook's cottage. They actually transported the cottage from England to Australia. He was one of the founders of Australia. Right after visiting Captain Cook's cottage, somehow I lost my iPhone. I had all my videos on that and I was so devastated. But my friend Ken, he tracked it and then he found it in the next rugby arena. As actually a security guard found it and he was keeping it for us. And Ken and Arvind went and brought it for me. It was such a relief. And that incident made this trip very memorable. I cannot forget. And I cannot thank enough Ken. This is my husband Arvind and my friend Pushpa. While they were studying in Chennai, India in 1960s, attending college, they're sitting and doing their homework. And the next picture you can see now. In 2019, Arvind and Pushpa having a drink in Melbourne, Australia. How time flies, now and then, but the friendship still keeps growing. This is myself and Pushpa in 1977 in Chennai, Madras Christian College. This picture is now taken in 2019 in Australia. Pushpa and myself. Time flies, friendship grows. This is a very old picture. See the white rails on the window? And now we are sitting by the same window, but the rails are painted like green. Flinders train station in old times. And you can see how it changed now in 2019. The structure almost the same, not much change to the structure. But if you see the people on the street, their style of clothing and the vehicle on the road, it's a vast change. This was a fish dish from a Chinese restaurant. It looks very spicy, hot and spicy, but it was not spicy at all. The chilies, I think they were just skins of chili. Maybe that's why it did not make the dish spicy. We found an Indian restaurant in Melbourne and we enjoyed the idli and dosa. They're not bad at all. It was nice and very reasonably priced. This sign on a Melbourne street caught my eye. And you can see the bistros in Melbourne. It's roadside bistros. Melbourne is a modern city, very lively with fine dinings and the best free public transportation. And tomorrow morning we are flying to Sydney. This is the Sydney Harbour. You can see the bridge next to it, and the Opera House is also adjacent to this harbour. Adjacent to the Opera House, overlooking the bridge, there are a lot of waterfront restaurants. The famous Opera House. In Sydney, we met a lot of Arvinda's college friends, school friends, and childhood friends. At Sydney Harbour with our friend and Arvind's childhood friend, Swarni. Our friends, Johnny and Swarni, they were driving us on the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Where? Park on which side?
Or where Bharti's in-laws are.
Yeah, Bharti's in-laws. Jesus Christ.
This is the harbour, is
This is the famous and beautiful Darling Harbour, and there are a lot of stores and malls, a lot of fine restaurants around this harbour. This is a mall at the Darling Harbour. It's very nice to watch the ships and little boats crossing this harbour. It's a beautiful sight. This is part of the Sydney downtown, and it's very busy, and you see all different nationality people walking around, going around doing their businesses. And the problem I've found is it's very hard to find parking in the downtown. We went to a fish market in Sydney. It's big, and you can name a fish, you'll find it there. Everything is so fresh. And we had our seafood luncheon there.
Do you have to do any shopping? No.
Things are very expensive in Australia compared to the US, almost half. In US, it's half the price.
No.
I wanted to visit a mall, but my husband just shot it down.
Oh, yes. Oh, there's definitely.
almost like half the price.
They must be living. Fiji there है Liverpool area में.
Really?
Liverpool, Kasula, that's at Campbelltown.
Highlight of my Australia trip was meeting my dear friend Meera J. After about 40 years. We were in the same hostel, Madras Christian College Hostel in Tambaram, Chennai. With Meera's daughter and the husband, along with my friend Pushpa and Ken. In Sydney, we visited Arvind's cousins and uncles and aunties, and we really had a great time. We wished we spent more time with them. Unfortunately, we could not. We had so many people to visit. In the last minute, people were contacting. We wanted to see everybody. And the time we allotted for Sydney was too little. Maybe next time. I've been asking Arvind to put a picture on his profile in the Facebook, and or else I told him, give me an access, I can do it, but he never did. And now he's asking me why I did not put a picture in his profile. Dinner at cousin Pranil's house. The best lamb curry I ever had. From Sydney, we took a day trip to Canberra, the capital of Australia. There we met Arvind's family, relatives, and also they studied together in Delhi, India. We had a real good time with them, and they were sharing their old college stories and India stories. And I was just listening, and it was really nice. Their house is overlooking a beautiful lake, beautiful view from their house. In Canberra, with friends Ashok and baby, relaxing and having tea after a delicious lunch. After visiting our friends in Canberra, we are driving back to Sydney with our friends Swarni and Johnny. It's evening, the sun is setting beautifully. On the way to Sydney from Canberra, look at the size of the lamb statue. It's a humongous one. Look at the size of our image and the statue. We saw pure white cows grazing. Sometimes we see pure black, or few brown, and most of them are black and white cows, beautifully grazing. Such vast land and vast meadows we happened to see on the way. This is Arvind's childhood friends from Fiji. Johnny, Muthu, and Arvind in Sydney. The next day, we took a bus ride and came to the Opera House and walked around in the streets, and it was really nice. And we went and had lunch in one of the waterfront restaurants by the Opera House and overlooking the harbour. It was really nice, enjoyed every minute of it. Walking in the streets of Sydney around the Opera House was very much like walking in San Francisco. One of Arvind's friend who studied in Delhi with him, he invited us for dinner. He shared wonderful miracles that happened in his life. We visited so many beaches, and I don't even remember which one was this. Swarni and Johnny, they took us to a few beautiful churches, and it was really a blessing. Thank you, Johnny and Swarni, for the wonderful time in Sydney. This is the second time I get to see Swarni, and this is the first time I get to spend some time with her. I felt like as though she was my childhood friend. The next day, from Sydney, we flew to Brisbane. We reached Brisbane and we met Pushpa's sister Beena for the first time. And all of us went to the Brisbane downtown and the boardwalk. There were a lot of tiny stores and a lot of restaurants. And they took us to a community park, which has a pond. It's like a swimming pool. It's so clean and it's so pleasant. We had lunch in one of the restaurants. I think it was a Mediterranean one. And it was on the boardwalk in Brisbane downtown. And after that, we took a free boat ride, which takes us between the ports on the river, south and the north and the west port on the river.
Tell Pushpa to say.
Our boat went past this huge cruise liner. The name is Pacific Dawn. It was huge and beautiful. City of Brisbane is in the background. The next day, we went to visit our dear friend Karuna and her husband Keshav. They invited us for lunch, and we went to their beautiful house and met their beautiful family. This was the first time I met Karuna, but I felt as though I knew her all my life. We had a long talk. We discussed about so many things. She showed her the family puja room, and she and her husband Keshav, they studied in Delhi together with Arvinda. From Brisbane, we took a day trip to the Gold Coast, and we stopped by at a scenic spot on the top of a hill, and we took some pictures. It was beautiful. We stopped by at a famous bakery on the way to the Gold Coast, and I just could not resist my temptation. I had the most delicious cream pie on the way to the Gold Coast at this bakery. Look at the Buddhist monk. He's ringing a bell and praying, and all these birds are just flocking him. Seems like he does it like every day, so they know what he's doing and what he's going to do. I'm sure he must be feeding them. So let's watch. The monk has a loaf of bread in his hand while praying, and watch the birds. They're not trying to snatch it from his hand. They just wait, and they know for sure that they're going to get it. They wait for him to throw the bread. It was very nice to watch them. With our friend Beena, Pushpa's sister. The sunset was very beautiful in the Gold Coast. My dear friend Pushpa and her sister Beena having fun on the beach walk. After having fun at the beach, we just relaxed at the boardwalk having some coffee and snacks. After the coffee, we started driving back to Brisbane. The taxi driver was playing beautiful songs in his radio and flew back to Melbourne, and we took a train to Collac, Pushpa's hometown, and the vacation has come to an end. Had a wonderful time, the best vacation we ever had. And we met so many wonderful friends and family, and I could not share all the experience we had with them. Some of the family and friends we met, we were busy talking and eating, and I forgot to take pictures or video, so I could not share those experiences in this video. Especially Indrani and Bala, Mala and Pushpa auntie and the uncle. We visited them, but we were busy talking.
Yes.
And we just forgot to take pictures and videos. So I feel so bad I could not share the experience I had with them. But I can tell you, the dinner we had at Indrani's house and the snacks we had at Pushpa auntie's house, I just cannot explain. It was wonderful, delicious, and I don't know how I could repay. I wish they all could come and visit us in California. I could show at least a fraction of the hospitality they all showered on us. Thank you, everybody. Car ride from the railway station to the town of Collac. Reached Collac, Pushpa's hometown. Before going back to Melbourne and fly out to California, we spent few days at home with Pushpa and Ken. And that was the last few days, and we had real nice, quiet family time with them. Taking the train back to Melbourne, and we're going to fly out from Melbourne to California. This was the best trip we ever had. Thank you everyone for making this a memorable trip for us. Pranil, Pushpa, Ken, Swanee, Johnny, and all the family and friends who entertained us. I cannot forget Beena and Mercy. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. That's all, folks. I hope you enjoy the trip with me. I will be back soon. Until then, take care and thank you for watching. Cheers.